Hi, welcome to my Compound Life. I'm Jonathan, your host. Welcome. Good to see you. This is a channel where we build asset, we build habits, and we build freedom. Okay. Hopefully, that should be financial freedom for all of us. Financial freedom means no need to worry about money, not to worry about your income, or having to worry about whether you've got sufficient income. Where eventually you get plenty of time to figure out what exactly you want to do, and you can retire early, like myself, right? So, let me have a sip of coffee. Thank you. Thanks for watching. In today's episode, I'm not gonna talk about Bitcoin news or anything else. However, what I want to do to all of you listeners or people watching my video, thank you. Thank you for helping me to reach my 10th subscribers. I'm essentially 11th now, so thank you very much. Thanks for your support. I promise I will continue to make higher quality video where possible, right? With better content, because ultimately I know that once I kind of get into the rhythm of doing something, things will improve, things will optimize. It always does, right? So I will continue to do so, okay? But I want to specifically call out some of the viewers that actually left me comments telling me, the 10th subscriber, the 7th. So the 10th subscriber, it's actually you. Beating, I think it's meant to say beat and the odds, or beating the odds. Apology if I can't pronounce it correctly. So thanks for subscribing. You're my 10th, and I really appreciate that, right? And I think what I'm trying to do is to be good at creating YouTube video. Apart from me talking about Bitcoin all the time, maybe I'll start to branch out to talk about other stuff, other more life stuff relevant to me as a human being, and maybe get into a little bit more on the lifestyle type of content too. Okay, so thank you, beating the odds. Thanks for your 10th, you're my 10th subscriber. And also, Truth 911 Note, you're my 7th. So thank you. Thanks for being my 7th. Really appreciate that. Yeah, simply, just being thankful. I know I'm not a big shot yet. I hope one day I can be. But for now, I just want to create content on stuff that I care about. But more importantly, stuff that I truly believe about, and I believe every one of us, every one of you should be aware of too, right? So that we can build more assets, build habits to go about in managing that assets, and of course we build freedom. That is financial freedom. Okay. And of course, I think there's another subscriber called DD Party 506. You never mentioned whether you're my 5th or 3rd or 4th or 6th. But anyway, thanks all for subscribing. I'm on my 11th. If you haven't done so, please hit the like, hit subscribe, and hopefully, I should have more people watching my content. I think it's tough being such a small content creator. I'm not even famous, so that's why it's going to take time to build up trust, build up whatever so that people would follow me, right? But I promise what I'll do, I will create more and better quality content, and that's kind of like a commitment, conviction, especially when the fact that I know I'm a small content creator, right? That kind of reminds me, everything needs to start somewhere. Everything needs to start small. A little bit like you start to accumulate Bitcoin. The best way to do so is pound cost average or dollar cost average. It depends where you live. I'll just call it pound cost average first, right? When go about in what the best thing about accumulating Bitcoin is you don't have to have £10,000 immediately, or £100,000 or 200 or $500,000, right? You can start small, £10, £5, right? Whatever you start to accumulate, that kind of acts like a bank, like a Bitcoin bank that helps you to hedge against inflation. Certainly Bitcoin, it's highly volatile. We all know that, right? It can be as peak of 126,000, right? And then drop to 87,000 right now, okay? But if you zoom out over a period of time, what you can see is the asset is becoming more scarce, right? The price is becoming much more stable. The volatility is getting less and less. However, also to point out, if the volatility is getting less, essentially that means the fluctuation of Bitcoin, the price increase of Bitcoin will essentially be capped. But having said that, it is still one of the best and top performing asset, okay? So one might argue actually gold, silver are better performing right now. Yes, for the past 9 months or half a year, yes, indeed, gold, silver, or even the Google shares definitely outperform Bitcoin, right? However, over this long period of time from Bitcoin inception until now, it is still a very top performing asset. So that's why, a little bit like my channel, like my Compound Life channel, we start small, and I encourage all of you, especially the one that are starting out, the people that are watching, if you're young, if you are, I shouldn't even say that, for everyone, right? It doesn't matter if you're young, you are mature, you are more older, it's never too late to get into Bitcoin, right? And just because Bitcoin is the ultimate store of value, right? And the compounding, the CAGR for Bitcoin, right? It will outperform any asset class out there, right? So if you don't trust me, have a little dig through in terms of the Bitcoin's CAGR. It is still one of the best performing one. I cannot promise that buying Bitcoin will be a get-rich-quick scheme for anyone, right? You need at least 4 to 5 years period of time, okay? At the same time, I want to also call out, the fact that I'm such a small channel. I start small, right? It's a little bit like me starting my property investment journey too, right? I start small. Essentially, I bought a property. When I first started many years back, right? That was when property are still pretty affordable, even in London. So I started my journey in East London. And bought the first property in East London. At that time, I think it was £250,000, right? However, I think now it is, I haven't done any evaluation, but I've seen property around that area. It's probably around 650 or 700,000 pounds. Okay, so that is essentially over 15, 16, 17, under 20 years time, right? So that's a very good return from that investment. It continued to be kind of like a cash cow for us because it's rented out every now and then. I can borrow more against it. We do some remortgage, we borrow against it to pay off my current residence, to pay off more of my other rental properties. So we definitely started small, right? However, I don't want to give you guys more of the positive side, because when we've started small, essentially that means my salary, my wife's salary wasn't that great either, right? So that's why at the beginning we used to, although we owned the property fully, but we still rented out 2 of the rooms, right, to lodges. Okay, so we've been through a lot of these, and I just want to set this up to to let every one of you guys that are currently going through the compounding journey or the asset accumulation journey, where you build asset, you need a lot of habits, better habits, disciplines in managing your asset, just for you to grow it even more and to compound it even more, right? So that's why I'm showing a lot more conviction for my content on YouTube. And the fact that you can see that I'm kind of creating more content over a period of time. Friendly neighbor, yeah, it's essentially showing how serious I am. Now that I'm retired, I want to blast out more of my happiness to all of you, not to brag, of course, but to give some indication that we're not in a dead end situation, because I know how tough it is right now in the UK, right? How tough it is. Rachel Reeves are constantly increasing tax. We are getting taxed the hell out, each and every year, and it gets a lot more painful over a period of time. Asset price grows so much that everything seems unaffordable, even your groceries, right? So I just want to breathe some air into it to let you guys know that, I've also been through a similar situation before. And the fact that I build asset, build habits, go around in managing the assets, and that can help us to build our freedom, right? And my freedom now is to have some conviction in creating this My Compound Life channel. So please hit subscribe. Even if you don't like my content now, maybe you like it later, right? Maybe you like it when I'm on my 200th video, where the video content improved tremendously, right? So hit the like, hit subscribe, and follow me through this journey, and I'll really appreciate that. Apart from that, that's it what I want to talk about. Really thankful for the 7th and 10th user that you subscribe, you left comment for me. Keep stacking your assets, keep stacking your Bitcoin. I still truly have a lot of conviction on Bitcoin, the fact that you don't need a lot of money to get started, right? And then you will be able to see your return in a matter of 4 years' time, right? Unlike my properties, where I do see good return over 10 years, 20 years, But in My Compound Life, I want you guys, I want all of us to be able to accelerate that a little bit faster and get into that freedom situation, right? And somehow I kind of felt just simply, buying properties might not get us there quick enough, right? So we need a level of investment where you take a little bit more risk, maybe get into, you know, growth stocks investing, especially on the AI sphere now, as well as Bitcoin, right? And forget crypto. Okay, that's my biggest mistake I've ever made. So forget shitcoin, forget crypto, and just focus on Bitcoin. You're not too late. Trust me, you're not too late. And give yourself a good 4 years worth of stacking, right? It doesn't have to be a lot, right? £5, £10, you know, just get the habits going. Whenever it dips, buy more. Whenever it rises, don't sell yet, right? Wait until the 4 year cycle peak, right? Yeah, essentially that's how you know we need to move in my compound life. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.